Alright, so back here again, trying to make another video. This time I'm in Seoul. Last time I was in Beijing. So I guess I've been kind of moving around a little bit. Not really sure where I am in my life right now, but so be it. This is where I am now. And as I'm here, I'm gonna try to take a look at some things and think about things, kind of see like what this environment is all about. Well, I guess I'm seeing the East, I'm seeing Asian culture. I was actually in Beijing just a couple of days, and then now I'm in Seoul, South Korea, staying here for a while. So I'm just kind of getting a feel for the life over here. Going from China to Korea to a large extent. Me as a Westerner, I see a lot of similarities. Going from say Korea and China, certain basic things. I mean, basically, being a Westerner, you don't see these things all the time, but just kind of get like a general idea. I guess there's certain things, and I know like Confucius is something in China, but you'll see like that you'll see Confucius kind of come up sometimes in some of the Korean exhibits that I've looked at. There's Buddha, you kind of see that around. And of course the food, there's all these kinds of Asian food, and of course Korean food and Chinese food is kind of distinct, but then there's a lot of things that are, kind of at least as far as like the nutritional value. I guess you kind of get like similar kind of nutrition. Well, China, I guess, is communist, so and I guess there's a lot of, I know there's a lot of talks about like communism. It's got all this stuff, all the political stuff back home, which like right now, from my perspective, it all really kind of seems kind of silly in a way. But yeah, you know what? I guess there's some significance to it. I guess really, truthfully, the way I see it is like America is basically it's a dominant force in the world. I can see it here, definitely. Somebody's playing some music. So yeah, it's definitely a dominant force in the world. And of course, you talk about China. I guess it's communist, and I don't know what, maybe the Cold War is still alive to some extent. They had all this stuff with the Russian collusion and all that, and then Trump has his trade wars with the Chinese. And I know there was some other stuff in the media, stuff about China, but look, I was there in China, and it's everything was okay. I was fine. I really probably don't know enough about it, but from my when I was there, it was okay. It was nice there. I guess the only thing I see, like a lot of these police, very very sort of threatening, ominous-looking police. They're wearing these like militant-looking uniforms. But in the end, I guess they were really kind of harmless. They didn't really do much. And so now I'm here in Korea, and Korea has like a lot more Western influence. I guess they follow a lot of things, and they're definitely into a lot of. They're kind of superficial in a way, like they're into like some cosmetic stuff, things. That's a whole other thing. I don't really want to get too much into that. I was actually, I stopped by some place where it was, I guess, a political center. It was kind of like where the White House, it was like, they call it the greenhouse, but I guess it's like where the president lives. And there were all these protests and stuff going on. I know this thing is, I don't understand Korean. I know a little bit, but I don't really know. But I know they were like marching around with Korean flags and American flags. And actually, they gave me a Korean flag and American flag. So I guess like I guess those people were trying to say that, yeah, like they're all for like the relationship between the United States and Korea. Like let's keep that going. We're all gung ho for that. And I think like the current administration now has some kind of communist leanings. So I guess they're like kind of like not that happy with that. But yeah, what can I do? But again, like me overall, like like I've been saying in my videos, and I'm trying to say like on my channel, I really just want to try to understand the whole human experience. So of course, I've always taken a look at the Asian, the Asian take on the world, and of course it's influenced in the West. We have definitely Asian things, and I know I talked a lot about this duality that kind of goes on in everything. You kind of see, and I guess that's kind of comes from the idea of the yin and the yang. The yin and the yang is kind of like this basic idea of these opposites. I guess you have the white and the black, or the weak and the strong, or the male and the female, or whatever. You can go on and just find all these different things. And that's kind of, that's one of the themes in Asia. We talk about this yin and yang. And then, I also want to say that another observation that I see from the East and the West, I think the East, I noticed that the people overall, the people are really sort of well behaved. They kind of like, they follow their rules, they do what they have to do, and I guess that's kind of nice. I kind of appreciate that. Me seeing a lot of things, especially in New York and stuff. And I guess it's like, the whole idea of America is like this, individualism, and that people kind of have this freedom, which is great. It's great to be free and to have creativity and come up with things. There's definitely a benefit to that. But then of course I see like the other side where people, I guess they get, there's like too much freedom and too much, and it kind of like it's just feels like a little annoying and obnoxious sometimes. But okay, that's I guess some people just go a little bit too far maybe with their freedoms, whereas over here, everybody, they kind of, they kind of know what's, that they're all in this community, and they're living together, and they kind of like, they just sort of follow rules and stuff, and they kind of stay well behaved. So that's another thing. I guess there was maybe some other things that I wanted to talk about here. Being in Asia, I always, being in America, I guess I always think of, I've always thought of America as being like really, truly an Asian nation, because I guess I think of like the history. I guess that they were the native peoples that lived on the land, and they, from what I see, they kind of look like, in many ways, they have a lot of characteristics Asian, and from what I understand, I think that maybe the Americas and the Asia continent were connected together. So maybe these people kind of, they were in this land, so they were here. They were maybe from the Asian continent, and they were in the American continent. They were there, whatever, they were living there, and then whatever, the Europeans came, and whatever, maybe they got along peacefully at some point, but then there were maybe some massacres and things. I don't know, I've heard all different, renditions of this story, so that's another thing that I think about, because I'm always thinking about, like, of course, one of the things I'm trying to understand is the human species on the earth, or this human species, or whatever beings there are, because evidently there is some kind of intelligent life form here on Earth that's kind of developed this whole big global community, a matrix that I think I've talked about. I guess South Korea and China is within that matrix. Maybe there are some other, societies or civilizations out there that are on the map, but maybe they're just kind of, they're not in that matrix grid. But anyway, so of course I'm always being very conscious of the human beings, I guess, and of course, you have the East and the West, so you have, race, whatever, this concept of race, and sometimes I don't even really want to mention race, but truly it's there because you just physically look at people and you can see that they're different, and physically they're different, and then a lot of things in the way they act and their culture and things. And so you have the Europeans, and you have the Asian, you have the African, and that's kind of like what makes up the world from what as far as we understand of the human species or what we see. And of course there are like hybrids of different things and whatnot. But the United States has its interesting history. So we talk about all this immigration and stuff. And really, truly, what is that? I don't even know. I don't know what the answer is to that because I think Howard Zinn wrote this book about the people's history of the United States of America. And I guess he was truthful in talking about according to his truth. I guess he was a historian, and he did his research and came up with his ideas. And I guess his idea was that the Native Americans were massacred, and the other blemish was the slavery of the Africans. So that's a whole other thing that we can just go on forever and ever. And of course, at a certain point you kind of have to move on from that, I guess. But again, I'm still I'm just trying to figure out, who we are, where we come from, what this all is, But anyway, there were probably other things that I wanted to say, but I can't think of them now. But I just figured I'd check back, make a video, and put it out there. So I guess I'll be seeing you again next time.